All right, so this is really just a test. So this is going to look like crap, and I'm going to be paying attention to my computer as much as I'm telling you anything. But that's sort of the point. I was playing with settings a bit. So the thing that I wanted to talk about, aside from not having good lighting or apparently a decent camera, is something I've been thinking about in the coverage of Joe Biden's acceptance speech and the DNC convention generally, is the role of president as a TV personality, and the difference between the postmodern implications of a presidency versus the modernist implications. So a couple of times in the last presidential elections have happened entirely on postmodern grounds. Specifically Bush and the way he was talked about, like people voted for him because they like wanted to vote for somebody they'd like to have a beer with. And it always seemed insane, but it only seems insane if, again, like many things, if you integrate everything all at once, it becomes muddy. But if you disaggregate the postmodern interpretation from the modern interpretation, saying that you're going to vote for the person who you want to have a beer with is much more reasonable when you think about this is a person who, if they get elected, will live in your living room on your TV for 4 years. And like, do you want that person as a major character for major events as you watch television? And I have felt that way up and down variously for various different presidents and different presidential candidates. And after the Soviet Union collapsed, there was this notion that history had ended and that we had won, America had won. And so sort of nothing really mattered all that much because we had won history and nothing bad could ever happen. So why not vote based purely on who you want to see as president? It was like the most important role of president was like their presence in your life as the president, as a character, right? And that's why it's postmodern. Because the direct, like causal, empirical, managerial aspects of the presidency are all mediated through so many different things that at the end of the day, most people cannot recognize the impacts on their life as being causally connected to who's been elected. So the only thing they have left to judge is what happens on their TV and what happens in those mediated meta or referential experiences of what's going on. And until, for the majority of people, certainly for the people who count as Americans on network television or on cable news, which is like affluent white America, for that subset of America, almost everything has been postmodern for 20, 30 years. Like the wars were modern, but they affected so few Americans directly that their representations were what mattered, not what they were. And coronavirus is the first thing that has happened where it's actually a modern experience. I don't go to work in person anymore. I've been extraordinarily lucky. Like that's the minimum experience, right? A lot of people have been devastated. A lot of people have died. And that's not postmodern if someone if someone in your family, if you die or get very sick. And so this election, in a way that makes more direct sense than it has for a long time, the modern or actual presidency in their managerial or leadership implications are what matters to people, and not what they mean to to a like sort of intertribal prestige battle about who won the presidency. And that's new. That not new, but it's recently revived, that you could vote for someone who you don't like because you think they would do a better job. Under normal circumstances, the role of president is so visibly disconnected, right? It's not disconnected, but it's not obvious how it's connected to your day-to-day life. And frankly, your local elections matter more. But like, this election, you could vote for someone who you hated, who you thought would do a good job, and you could still feel good about what you had done because the current president has done such a devastatingly bad job at something that obviously directly impacted people, that they could say, like, I care about how well they do the job of president, as opposed to, I care that if the other guy wins, my team will have lost in a sports way. Yeah, and I just wanted to bring that up, that there's this very interesting dynamic about the federal government matters in people's day-to-day lives in a directly observable way. And that directly observable connection is what's so important and so different about this election. It's one of the things, there's a million things going on, yeah, so this is just a test. I mean, really, Neskins, this is basically for you, because I need help with lighting, because the curtain is open and I've got my weird grow light on, which is sort of the right color temperature for outdoor light. And the camera's looks fancy and looks like garbage. The picture looks fake somehow. Anyway, if I leave this up, welcome to an artifact of me trying to figure out how to do this. If I don't leave this up, then I'm talking to myself. Been nice talking to you. Thank you for your attention.